Okay, well, I'm here with Ori Yudilevich, Chief Technology Officer of MaterialsZone. First question I'd like to ask you, how does machine learning help collect data for the materials research and innovation process?
Hi, Neil. Thanks for the opportunity and for this interview. So I work in MaterialsZone. I'm the CTO of MaterialsZone. And in MaterialsZone, we have a materials informatics platform that serves industry that creates material-based products, right? So that's products made out of where some kind of materials research is involved. Development of new products is kind of like a cooking process, right? So there's kind of an iterative process, where you try out different materials, you try different processes, right? So in cooking, that would be trying out like different cooking times, different temperatures. And traditionally, this process is very slow, and it requires a lot of trial and error. Today, with machine learning, you can really increase the speed of this process, and you can simulate a lot of things that you would otherwise have to do in the lab, and that would take a lot of resources and time.
Yeah.
And this machine learning process can actually recommend what you can do. So it could try out like 1,000 different or 1,000,000 different things that you would have otherwise tried in the lab, and it would tell you, these are the top 10. Why don't you try these out, right? And then the whole data collection, which takes place in the lab, becomes much faster and much more efficient.
Okay, and just on that, how much of a negative impact does slow or inefficient data management have on the innovation process?
Yeah, so this relates to the story I just told. So because the original process before machine learning, before digitalization, was basically trial and error and using scientific intuition, which is good. We progressed quite a lot in that way, but still it was a very slow process, right? It could be years of work till we could get to the product that we would like to get to. There was also a problem because it was so long. There was also a problem of knowledge loss. So in many years, many engineers and people that have a lot of knowledge would leave the organization. New people would come in, and there would be a lot of duplicate work. So digital data management allows you to keep this data alive and in one place. It allows searching for old data, learning from what people did in the past. And today with machine learning, a lot of this learning is actually done automatically, and this empowers the engineer in the lab. So yeah, a lot of places for improvement due to these technologies.
Okay, and working in a lot of different industries, how do you tailor the platform to meet the requirements of these, especially if it's a niche area?
Yeah, so it's a good question. We do have a lot of issues because every time we discover like new domains have new challenges. However, we do see that the core of what we do, the core of our platform, is more or less common. So as I said, it's a bit like cooking, right? And it doesn't matter which domain you go to, there's this iterative process that I described before, and that's common. So the core of our platform is actually fits all industries more or less, right? Let's say 95%. But then most of the things that are specialized to specific domains are related to how the data is inputted, right? So that could be each domain has its own kind of machines that are used for collecting data, for making measurements. In addition to that, each domain has its own specialized calculations, analyses that are being performed. So it's really the connectors, right? The way we input the data, and that's often that's about integrations, being able to integrate to different systems, and also about adding like modules that allow to do these specialized calculations. And these are often either developed by us or by our clients, and then they can actually do the calculations on their side, and using our API, upload the data into this more generic platform that can serve them in a unified way.
Okay, and just on the different industries, are there any features or tools that sort of that support individual industry innovation and market responsiveness?
Yeah, so basically what I just described in terms of having to deal with like specialized types of science in each domain. So just to give a few examples, like we work with the battery industry, right, where you have to measure things like current and voltage. We work with building materials industry, where you have to work with actual strength and different properties of cement and other building materials. And each one is a complete other domain, complete other academic degree you would do maybe to work in that domain, complete different mathematics. So what we do have is we have the ability to create something we call analysis apps. And these are basically kind of little calculators that could be interactive or could be automated depending on the situation. And these also can actually be built by the customer itself. So we provide some kind of developer kit.
Okay.
If the company has, for example, in-house data scientists, and that's kind of like a whole feature set that we offer to adapt the platform to the specific domains.
Okay, and can you describe for me any security measures you have in place to protect sensitive data or intellectual property?
Sure. So security, you know, as is common in the industry today, it has to be placed at the highest priority. We see, you know, very a lot of platforms being attacked or data being leaked. So we do place security the highest priority. We have a security team that deals with this. We are now at the final stages of getting a SOC 2 compliance,
Okay.
which basically covers the whole spectrum of like security, availability, confidentiality, privacy of data. This basically means that we put like all the walls around things like encryption, firewalls, in order to protect our customers' data. In addition to all those security efforts, our platform itself also has security built in, right? So if we have like a big organization that we've onboarded, these organizations might also have need for permissions between divisions. Maybe not all divisions are allowed to see everything. Maybe you want some divisions to have read-only access to specific types of data. So we've developed an extensive granular permission system that allows to allocate permissions at different levels and for different entities in the system.
Okay, and how has a background in data science, software development ops helped you and benefited you in this role?
Yeah, it helped me a lot. Of course, there were a lot of things that I needed to learn, right? So throughout life, you learn certain things, and then you start a new job, and you see that you need other skills as well. But I think I have a pretty diverse background, because I spent you know, basically from my childhood, I've been programming, and I've had several jobs where I was a software developer, also a product manager at the early stage. But in addition to that, I also kind of did a detour and came back into academia, and where I spent many years studying pure science.
Okay.
And I think that, so I studied physics, a little bit of chemistry, which is what we deal with mainly, and mainly mathematics. But it doesn't matter, because I think the combination of these two helps me a lot, because our product is a scientific product. It serves the scientific community. So having been part of that community, I feel that I understand better our clients. I can speak to them I find it easier to understand their way of thinking. And on the other hand, we're a software company, so we're building software. So I think this combination has aided me a lot. And yeah, as I said, a lot of new things I had to learn. For example, the whole business side of things was relatively new to me. I was always interested in it, but I never actually worked in it, and I enjoy that a lot.
Okay. Another question I had is, in what ways does your platform contribute to sustainability and eco-friendly practices within the material science industry?
Yeah, so that's a very up-to-date question. It's a big issue these days. We're getting into it more and more. I think it helps in kind of two main ways. One way is that we actually provide, we facilitate the calculations and the reporting that needs to be done on sustainability, right? So, for example, companies today that create products made out of materials, they have to report on the carbon footprint that their product has, and our platform actually allows collecting all that data and facilitating the calculations that they have to do and the reporting. That's one way.
Mm-hmm.
So that relates more to kind of the sustainability, division of a company. If it's big, if it's a small company, maybe even the R&D will do that. The other thing, which is as important, maybe even more important, is actually taking into account, allowing our clients to take into account the carbon footprint and other sustainability parameters in the development of the product, right? And it becomes like another parameter. So in the past, you would just say, I want to have the most efficient photovoltaic cell, right? But now, these days, you have to say, I want to have the most efficient photovoltaic cell, but that also is made out of the lowest, the materials that have the lowest carbon footprint, right? And these sometimes might be competing parameters, right? So maybe something that would give you more efficiency might actually also be less sustainable, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to optimize these two. So it's a multi-parameter optimization problem. And our platform allows them to take into account all of these things, right? In addition, by the way, to sustainability, there's also other regulatory constraints. For example, if you're making a plastic product for the food industry, right, then there are certain raw materials that you're not allowed to use, or you're allowed to use very little of them because they could be poisonous in a product that touches food. So our platform allows to take into account all of these parameters into account in the R&D process.
Okay, and do you have any specific examples of how your company's aided another company that perhaps wouldn't have been possible without the platform?
Sure. So I can't go into details of use cases because of NDAs that we have with our clients, but I can, in general, explain that we work with some very large organizations. We also work with startups and medium-sized companies, and each type of company has its own set of challenges. In the case of big companies, these are a lot of traditional companies that were in the past not digitized, and they're working on digitizing their systems. And also throughout the years, they've accumulated a lot of systems that you see in large companies, especially if you look at companies that buy other companies, right? So each new company they buy in comes with their own set of data systems, right? Could be an ERP, could be CRMs, could be R&D related systems, inventory management. So like a whole array of systems. And the fact that in integrating these becomes very challenging, and it becomes very difficult to take the whole flow into account. So we see ourselves as an end-to-end platform. It's a platform that connects all the pieces, because everything is important in the end for producing the best product. So data from procurement, right? You might maybe want to take into account the prices of raw materials, We discussed already sustainability and regulation. In the R&D itself, of course, you have a lot of data to take into account with things that you're measuring, the process of developing the product, all the way to quality control and the actual manufacturing line. All of parameters that you collect there also go back to R&D. So there's kind of like a feedback system. So our platform allows connecting all the pieces. Everything flows into our platform and allows better decision making at all levels, right? So R&D can take into account all of these things that I said. Procurement, has much more visibility into how the raw materials that they purchase or other things that they purchase are being used at a later part of the process inside the company, and so forth. So this is one kind of big focus of our product.
Okay, and just on that, are you able to share any future updates or developments to the platform we may see on the platform in the future?
Yeah, I could definitely. So we're in the end, we're a SaaS platform. That means we're hosted on the cloud. You don't have to install anything on your own servers. And one of the nice things about SaaS, one of the amazing things I think about SaaS platforms, like platforms that we all use, like even WhatsApp and Gmail and all these platforms, is that they keep improving all the time, right? Every morning we wake up, we find a new button that does something cool, and all of this is being done after learning from how users are using our system, where they're getting stuck. So we're constantly improving the user experience and increasing the usability and putting in cool new features depending on what we see that our users need. So this is one aspect, just ongoing improvement of the platform. That sounds maybe less exciting, but I think that's really where the big value is. In addition to that, we're working on two big projects. One of them is this whole machine learning iterative process that I was discussing in the beginning, how machine learning can learn from the experiments you do in the lab and suggest the next experiments you should do. So we're introducing some new algorithms and technologies that are pretty modern, only being used in academia at the moment, into our platform. So making them available for industry. And another thing we're kind of working hard on, just like a lot of other companies in different areas, is understanding how we can leverage generative AI, so tools like ChatGPT in our platform. We already identified several places where this amazing technology can solve problems that where you up to now you needed maybe to hire 100 students to look into a lot of text and extract information, which is public information, which is very useful. For example, specifications of raw materials, information from academic articles. All these things are publicly available, but very difficult to put into a structure that can actually be utilized. So this is just one example of how generative AI can help for a platform like ours, and we're working hard now to build some. We always start with a POC, right? We're trying to build something that is to check if it actually does give value, and then improve it and make it really part of our product.
Okay, that kind of answers the next question. Actually, I was going to ask, how do you foresee the evolution of AI in materials informatics in the next 5 or 10 years? I don't know if there's any other ways at all.
Yeah, I mean, what I said on those two are just examples. I think different industries are at different places in this process of digitization. Right, so maybe the pharma industry is maybe more advanced than the whole industry of material-based products. We see a lot of the companies we work with they are working very hard to catch up, but they're still not at the same level as other industries. Whereas this industry, or many industries, is actually a huge, it's a huge part of our lives, right? Like every physical thing that is now on your table or in your house is actually a product of this industry, right? Could be a table, could be your laptop, could be the solar panels on your roof. And I think we're actually living now in this revolution, right? We're seeing, so I've been in the company for 4 years. The company has been founded 6 years ago. And in these 6 years, we've seen like a huge evolution, huge change. If 6 years ago we had to kind of tell people what is materials informatics, what's the benefit of digitizing, today companies come to us, right? We don't need to anymore explain this, or at a different level already. So people are much more open to making these changes. And once companies are digitized, once all the data they have is not siloed and it's all combined in or connected in a way that can be leveraged for applying these AI tools, I think the pace of innovation is going to increase exponentially, right? We're going to see, and I think this, given the state of our world with global warming, and we have to see much faster innovation, especially in areas like alternative energy, biodegradable materials, in order to survive. And I think kind of just like we've seen in the past centuries, right? Technology always kind of catches up with the needs of society, and I think we're seeing that happening.
Okay, so thanks very much for that. That's the last question I had, actually. So I think
Thank you.
That's all. Thanks very much for joining us today.